Tatiana.
Welcome everybody to a special edition of the Jake Feinberg Show. My guest today is an example of someone who has had something to say and said it. Either through vocals or percussion instrumentation, he wanted to express himself and in turn learn more about himself. He has never stopped growing and learning over his storied career, which has taken him from continent to continent in a continual effort to communicate through language and music. He was a born performer, but took the necessary steps and had the support in place to act on his fantasies and make them come true. By performing, he introduced us to new ways in which you could use percussion in different musical settings, as well as infusing vocals and scat language to enhance the intensity of the group dynamic. He has led his own groups and made many albums in collaboration with his wife, Flora Purim. The people and groups he has played with include Chick Corea and Return to Forever, the late great Frank Foster, Donald Byrd, The Grateful Dead, Ndugu Chancellor, Joe Farrell, Sivuka. Countless Lifetime Achievement Awards and yearly honors make him a transcendent figure in our art world. Airto Moreira, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Oh, thank you very much.
Airto, I read on your website that you learn something new every day. Can you tell me what you've learned lately that stands out and gives you hope?
Yes, I can do that. Actually, what I am still learning is to communicate with people of all ages and races as if they were all brothers and sisters. And not just through music, but in life generally. We are here and we are always learning something. We never know everything. If we knew everything, we were not here.
Yes.
So I am part of the human society, and as like everybody else, I am learning. And the most important thing right now to me is to be able to communicate one-to-one and love like among ourselves is very, very important. And if that existed in the world, everything wouldn't be so chaotic the way it is right now.
Airto, what gets in the way of treating each other, no matter what race or ethnicity or color, what gets in the way of treating us just like all brothers?
I guess is first of all fear, or fear of being wrong, fear of things that we learned when we were kids. We learned in school, or we learn, some people they had learned with their parents, because their parents, they were living in fear, or so I think that's the two main things is fear to communicate.
Yeah, I want to ask. I think you're right. I just want to know, what are they? Is it fear, or do they doubt themselves?
Well, it could be a mixture, I think, because you see, if you find yourself, let's say, in a forest or in a big city like New York, and you don't speak the language, and you don't know, let's say, you don't know about the forest,
right?
Then you have doubts about yourself. How are you going to approach that? What should you do first, or actually, what should you do in order to feel good about that situation? So that's also goes to the big city, and let's say years ago, okay, I was playing in Europe. I don't remember exactly which town or which city I was playing, but we were on tour, and I always like it to take walks, and when I had the time, I always walked around, and because I love it, to see what is around and to experience things. So one time I got lost, and I couldn't go back to the hotel. So I start asking people in the streets. It was already kind of almost nighttime.
Right.
And so I was no business, Europe. No business was open at all. So I start asking, I try to ask people how to get to the hotel. But what happens is that the hotel key didn't have even the name of the hotel. It was just number, 27. Whatever.
Right.
And I couldn't say, where is this hotel? Blah, 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 blah. I couldn't explain myself. And people, they wouldn't understand what I was saying. I remember was a communist country. At that time, there was a bunch of communist countries that we used to go play everywhere. So I couldn't communicate. I couldn't find nobody that would have directions or directions to where.
Right, you didn't even know where to act.
Over the hotel.
Yeah.
So I just kept walking and asking, and I would ask them, do you speak English? No English. And Spanish? No. Portuguese? No. So finally, I find I saw some guy that was riding a bicycle, and he had like a backpack, and I thought, oh, or that guy's a student, was a young guy, or he's a student, or maybe, you know, he's a delivery guy, you know. And so I kind of run, you know, after him. I go, hey, excuse me. And so the guy stopped, and I asked, you know, well, I'm staying in a hotel, like, that looks like, first of all, he spoke English.
Right.
That was great. And I explained the hotel exactly how it was. It was not a little place, you know, it was a nice hotel. And he said, well, just like that, you know, I don't know. Where is the area, you know? And then I remember, I said, well, it's on a lake. And right, you know, the lake, I can see the lake right close by, you know, from my room and so on and so on. And he said, well, the lake, if you go straight here and then when you get to the end of the street, you turn left, you see the lake. So at least then you know where you are. I said, okay, thank you very much.
Right.
So I went, and but when I got to the lake, it was a big lake, and I didn't know if it was to the right or to the left. So here I am, you know, and I had to make a decision. So I made a decision. Okay, I'm going to go to the left, and then I walked, and but as I walked for about 10 minutes. And that was the hotel right there. And I found the hotel. So this is just a small example of, you know, how important is to be able to communicate. And not just through language, but with love. You know, if you smile to a person, you know, some people they don't respond. You know, lots of people actually they look at you and it's okay. You know.
Airto, the whole time that you were telling that story, I say to myself, the one thing that you did not do. I don't think you doubted yourself. I mean, if it was me, if you put me in that situation, I would say, oh my gosh, it's getting dark. I have a concert tomorrow. I need to get to sleep.
Oh, the concert was at the same thing. It was in about 2 hours.
But it's not. You didn't panic. You never panicked, Airto.
Well, that's true. No, I didn't panic.
And the idea is that by being able to stay composed and being secure with yourself, you knew that eventually you would find your way back. And I feel that some people don't have the patience or the confidence in themselves now, which is one of the reasons we are seeing so much turmoil. They don't have the ability to self-correct or believe that even through frustration, if you just trust people and you trust in love, that you can find your way. I think we have lost some of that insight and belief in the common man.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. I didn't panic, you know. Because panic was not going to help.
No.
Maybe it would help, you know, if I start screaming and then the police comes and I speak to them and maybe I'll find the hotel. But that was, I didn't think of, you know, of course, you know, my heart was like, you know, my heart was going, you know, very fast for a little while. But then I thought, well, I am here, and, you know, if I need it, you know, I go and I say, police, yeah.
Right.
But I am learning to accept situations the way they are, and if I need to change something, first I try to change myself towards that situation and the way I'm feeling. And then I go after the situation itself and see if I can change it. Because I think this causes lots of misunderstanding. Misunderstanding about life generally is like, okay, I am secure here, on my little space,
right?
And whoever wants to communicate with me has got to come here and talk to me. See?
Airto, can you talk about a situation when you said you first look and see how you can change yourself? How do you know when you have reached that point when you can turn from yourself to the actual issue?
Well, is when you give up being, let's say, too competitive, and also has to do with being proud. I'm proud of myself, and I'm not going to talk to this person or so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm not going to go into this situation without knowing if it's going to be okay. You see, because if you're open, and I know a lot of people that they are practicing that already for years. They are not afraid of other people or any new situation in life. Sometimes it takes a while and it's hard to change certain things, but I think being willing to change and to actually is something that you kind of bottle yourself. You see,
yes,
we are at war with ourselves all the time.
Yes,
because one part of us says, "No, just stay the way you are, and you're okay right now. So, let it be." And it's another part of yourself that says, "Okay, so why don't you go and you go into that situation and talk to people and do what you have to do and see if you will at least understand that situation, because if you have understanding of something, it's much better and easier to solve that problem or whatever it is. You see, so I think it's just a matter of trying. Okay, it's a matter of trying, and we try little by little. That's what I found out so far. That instead of saying thinking, okay, no, I'm not going to do this because this is not going to be okay. You communicate with the people that they are doing that, and so with a smile and with, of course, a little confidence, it helps too. And it's people that they do that. It's amazing, how much they can do, and where do they get, and so I think that's what it is,
Airto, I wanted to take you back to your childhood. You had a lot of opportunities to express yourself and make people smile and smile at them when you were a boy. And yeah. I was hoping you could take us back to the Saturday afternoons playing percussion and singing, Were you making up your own tunes? And if so, what were the messages in those songs when you were a boy?
Well, you see, when I was, a boy, just the fact that I was playing was already something so important and so much fun that I used to have, that was incredible, and was, the gratification on that is enormous. It's just great. And I always, I play, I don't play. I don't really play, for the people or for the music or for the band or whatever. I play by the simple reason, for the simple reason that that makes me feel good. And if I'm feeling good, other people around, they're feeling good.
Yeah.
So I always, when I sang and when I played, when I was a kid, I love it because, first of all, I loved music, and then I found out that if I'm doing something that I love to do, if somebody witness that, and they doesn't have to be music, somebody can feel that positiveness that you're feeling, and so then you're passing to the people what you're feeling, and that's what makes musicians, performers especially, so great, to like people they love so much, they like different types of music, but the performer, is the first thing, and the energy, positive energy.
And you were able to, you actually, can you explain to the audience about, I'm trying to figure out, I have a radio show, as you did, on Saturday afternoons, and you had it when you were 13 years old. And I'm trying to, were you just, how did that, what did that show sound like? Were you talking a lot? Were you singing? Were you playing music? How did that work? I mean, it sounds almost, it sounds a lot for a 13-year-old.
Well, actually, the radio program had an announcer and had an adult that was, doing the talking and commercials and this and that. But what I was doing, my part was to sing. Actually, was with two acoustic guitars, like 112 strings, and one, regular, normal guitar, not electric, and I played percussion already. I didn't really know if I was good or whatever, but what I knew was that people used to actually they would feel great to see that I was 13 years old and I was doing I was already playing and singing, you see.
Yes.
And they thought it was cute or whatever. and so the radio program I was the star of the radio program as far as music, singing and producing the music or creating the music, whatever. And I used to sing songs from that time, and that was was played on the radio. There was no television, and so it was mostly the radio that people would listen, and so the songs that they were playing, they were sometimes they became so popular, and that everybody was used to whistle that song, in the streets or whatever. So I would learn those songs, on the radio, and then go and rehearse with the two guys, that they played guitars, and they were great guitar players at that time. Was like they played everything. It was beautiful. But I had no idea. I didn't know the importance of it. To be honest with you, I just it was fun to me.
You were just doing something you loved, and you were being yourself, and that shined through. People could see that or hear that.
Yeah. You can put it that way. That's good. It's a good description.
Did you?
I was enjoying myself, and it was just great.
Airto, I have to tell you, it's so great to talk to you because a lot of times you're singing in in a different language, so it's hard for me to know what you're really talking about.
Yeah.
And then I see you on like album covers, like Black Messiah, like Cannonball Adderley, and you look just like you're having. I mean, I'm just like I really just want to have a beer with this guy, and you came across as always somebody who just stayed. You were able to stay in the moment, and you were trying to make the best sound for that band. And I said to myself, Airto, did you hear a lot of different kind of music on the radio in Brazil? Like, were you able to hear American type of music? Were you able to hear different types of music? Did the radio offer that?
Rarely. Very rarely.
Really?
Yeah, because in a small town in South Brazil, they were the radios. The radio programmer or whatever. They were more into music from Europe and Brazil than United States at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Not right now. Right now they are, they play a lot of artists, from America, from U.S. And but that time there was Edith Piaf, and like names that big names, huge, but they were not known. Probably they were not known in America because those people, they never traveled over here, or they did, but they traveled. They did one concert, let's say in New York, and then they went back.
Right.
So one of the things that really made a big difference is when people, they started, artists actually, musicians and singers, when we start traveling to other countries and then playing in other countries, that was very, very important, because then we would influence the people of those countries, but at the same time we would be influenced by their music also, their local music or culture, whatever you want to call. And some places they have like incredible music, like in India and Middle East, and it's like I like very much these two kinds of music. Probably this is the music that I like to listen, the most, because of these melodies and all these tonalities and the rhythms are, like sometimes they're very simple, sometimes they are very complex, and I think the live performance was responsible for a lot of music to be known, in other places.
Yeah, no, like and the polyrhythms of India are just phenomenal.
Oh God,
phenomenal!
Huh?
They're phenomenal. The tabla and the sarod and the themes that they're going through, and they use space very effectively. And I was actually going to ask you about, did you spend time over there practicing Indian rhythms, or when did you get exposed to that kind of stuff?
Well, I got exposed to I got exposed to that kind of music by the time of Woodstock. That big festival
in New York, in Bethel, New York.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I never went to Woodstock, but I was living in New York, and I met people that they were playing at Woodstock, and I met Indian musicians that they played there with Ravi Shankar, and was incredible. I never thought in my entire life that music like that would exist, and on top of it, it would be popular in some countries, because it's so complex, it's so incredible. But everybody knows them. That's their culture. They grow up listening to that, and singing and playing and so on and so on. So I never went to India. Actually, it's one place that I would like to go sometime. But it's like there are places in India that the music is like the best of the music over there. The best musicians, the best music, generally speaking.
And they have ragas for the morning and the evening and the afternoon as well, to fit the mood of that time.
Yeah, it's really, and to them, let's say, I see kids, now on TV. I see kids on TV playing incredible stuff, and they know all that, and they can retain all that, and play. They don't have to be reading music. They learn, whatever they hear, and whatever their teachers, their masters, shows them. But and then they learn that, and then they take off from there. Like two of my favorite percussionists that I know in the world. One is Three-Lock Mortar, and Three-Lock is actually is a jazz. Is into jazz. He's a jazz percussionist. And but he plays his background, which is he's from India, and his mother she's a classical Indian classical music singer, he's just, he's a great percussionist. And then Zakir Hussain.
Zakir Hussain, yes.
Which he lives, in California, close to San Francisco. And he travels around the world all the time. And he's an incredible player. He's a player that you see him playing, and even though you see that he's playing all that, sometimes making no sense. Your eyes, just your eyes cannot tell him what he is playing.
Right.
Because it looks like he's not even playing. He's like he could be eating pizza and playing that stuff. And I could never learn, even though I never tried hard, to learn that kind of music. But I know people in America that they know Indian music and they know the rhythms and everything. So Zakir and Treelock, those two guys, they are incredible players, and all of a sudden they're playing with jazz musicians. Not Zakir, not so much. Zakir plays more, for the communities of people, from India around the world, because that people, they already traveled, and many people they came over here to the States, or they went to Latin America, South America, or they went to different places in Europe and they live there. They have families, and so there is a lot of people from India, spread all over the world, just like Brazilians. When I was born in Brazil, and it's incredible how many Brazilians do I encounter when I'm traveling. It's unbelievable. Sometimes half of the audience is from Brazil, and I am playing in a place in Europe that 8 months a year is very, very cold, or 7 months.
Right. There are people from every country all over the world, no matter what the geography or the climate. There are just all types of people everywhere.
Yeah. And people, they feel good about being in places where it's not that they don't like Brazil, I never met a Brazilian abroad that told me, well, I don't really like Brazil, that's why, I came in here. No. Everybody, especially Brazilians, they love Brazil, but because they traveled somewhere and they made contact with that culture, and then they start working, doing whatever they do, and then they keep staying. This is what happened with me, actually. I came to America. I didn't come to America to make a career, to have a career. I don't really have a career myself.
Come on now.
No, I don't have it. And, I never thought, okay, I'm going to do this and that because it's going to be good for my career.
Oh, absolutely. No. It wasn't premeditated. I understand.
Yeah, but I know I have a name that a lot of people, they know, and all around, almost all around the world, and by the fact that I had played with these great players, a long time ago, especially Miles Davis. Miles Davis is really, when I played with Miles, like live and recorded for 2.5 years, beginning of the 70s. It was great for me because Miles was traveling a lot, and Miles was changing his music to a more, what he used to say, kind of like younger, this music is younger, and I like, very much. And because, I remember it used to be a lot of kids that they would come to see us.
Of course.
And they were not jazz fans. They were just people that they want to, okay, let me see what is about this guy, Miles Davis. And they would love it, And so playing with Miles all that time and recording, it opened up for me some very, very important venues that then I could later on I could go there and play myself
exactly.
with my band.
Right. I wanted, Airto, there's. I wanted to ask you, going back to the beginning of our conversation, we talked about the idea of, I brought up the idea of security and fear and doubt, and in 1968, you went to New York, and you went, and I want to know. Who was the first? How did you get comfortable there? Not being able to have command of the language. How did you get tapped into a scene, whether it was a Brazilian community or a Latin community or even a jazz community? Who were some of the guys that took you under their wing and made you feel like a little bit closer to home?
Well, first I looked for Brazilians, and there were not a lot of Brazilians that time. I think in New York or Los Angeles, I don't think so, and especially musicians. They were not. They were still in Brazil or in Europe, because for many years, Europe was was a place, and that Brazilians, they used to go there to visit, in vacation or try to work or whatever, and then later on was U.S. And I couldn't find that many Brazilians in New York because I had no idea, and I didn't speak English. That was like the worst thing. It was terrible. And then I found some clubs that they spoke Spanish. They were playing which today they call salsa.
Mm-hmm.
And but they were playing different kinds of rhythms from Cuba, from Puerto Rico, and or from the islands there, and I could speak Spanish actually already at that time, because I learned Spanish in Brazil, because before I came here I worked with bands that that they spoke Spanish, and so I went and I talked to them, and I tried to be part of the scene there, but I couldn't for some reason, because they wouldn't let me play.
Really?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me play. Sometimes just a little shaker, was a big band and all that rhythm that that I understood everything. And,
Sure.
And I wanted to play. And then I would sit sometimes. Well, I asked if I could sit in, many times, and because I was not from Cuba or a country that spoke Spanish. Just being a Brazilian, they would say, no, you can't play. We have everything arranged, and we cannot take a risk and let people sit in. We don't do that. And then I used to take a little shaker and sit, on stage, but just not. My body wouldn't be all on stage, just my butt. I was just sitting, in a corner of the stage.
Yeah, they just say, go over there, go there.
And as soon as I start shaking my shaker like, and they were playing the rhythm, and there was a singer or whatever. Oh, then somebody would see me and immediately say, "Hey, don't play." And then I couldn't play. And I realized that I couldn't play with them, with my brothers from South America, Latin America,
Unbelievable. So was it?
And the jazz scene,
yeah.
believe it or not, the jazz scene, they accepted me as a musician, and they let me sit in and play, and they love it because I had all these little sounds and things that they had never seen. Nobody ever seen that, in their lives, and it was pretty incredible. They love it, and I was playing right. I was playing, in time, in time, like bam, bam, and I didn't have to play all the time, so I didn't play all the time, and then they would invite me to come back and play again sometime,
What Airto, you just read my next question. What were some of the little percussive instruments that you introduced to these jazz musicians that they love so much?
Well, there is a shaker that is called ganza, Ganza,
Ganza,
and it's simply a shaker, and comes in different formats, but the sound is a sound of a shaker, by the way. And by the way, right now, I am creating with Zildjian this, a new kind of shaker that people are going to like it a lot. And but this is something else.
You're working with the drum company or the cymbal company.
Yeah, with the cymbal company.
Yeah. So you're making
because I am with Zildjian for forever now.
Right.
In Brazil, I used to play Zildjian, and then when I played Boston one time, a long time ago, they approached me, somebody from Zildjian, and said, "You want to play Zildjian cymbals?" And I said, "Well, I do play Zildjian cymbals." Because I didn't know about this, that you can endorse, things. So the guy gave me his card, and he said, "Well, give me a call, and maybe we can get together, and we'll choose some cymbals for you. We'll give it to you." I said, "Oh, great, thank you," and so on. And so since that time that I play Zildjian, and now they are getting into some special percussion instruments that is different from from any other percussion, let's say, company, and they made some of them. I think so far they have 2 types or 3 types, and they want to get enough instruments, and then they're going to launch that on in the market. And I am doing a few things for them. And but what I brought to this country, there was something that it looked like junk sometimes.
Right. Right.
It's like, what is this? And of course, this is from an old refrigerator. And it works like this, or whatever,
Yeah.
And then just play that, and people were amazed, even with a hose that is, I don't know if they still have that today, but at that time, the refrigerators, they had like a hose, white, it was always white, and then if you made that into a round kind of thing, and just blow and blew on it, it would was a sound like there was like there was a sound that nobody could make that sound using anything else but that. And just like that one, that was not a real instrument. I had so many things that I made myself, and so people they I think that's what people, they really love it. Every time that I performed, because they were all paying attention to, what is he going to play now? And so like Khahasiki is a little basket that has a gourd in one of the extremities, and has like some kind of beads inside, and you can change the beads if you want and get different sounds from different beads. And so I had a bunch of those that each one sounded different from each other, and I had a cuica, which is a drum that was created in Africa to hunt the lion, that would make a sound that would imitate the sound of the female lion when it was in heat.
Wow.
And then would attract, like like that.
And then bring the male lion over, but only he would.
Yeah. And then they would jump and spear them.
Wow.
So that's how the cuica was created, and why it was created. And then changes, and now cuica is very different. Not very different, but it's not a huge thing. It's a much smaller thing, and it's made of metal, and like some light metal, and we use to play rhythms like something like that, and every percussionist, or almost every percussionist these days, they have a cuica, they have ganzas, they have Khahasiki. The Khahasiki is that the thing that I was it's like a basket.
Yes.
And it's a shaker, but it's a shaker that you can play in different ways, so you can get way like different sounds.
Airto, have you seen? It's so funny you bring that up because you were on an album with Joe Farrell and Elvin Jones called Outback, and and in your picture on the inside gatefold, I believe you're playing this Khahasiki. There's like you have a basket, and it's almost like there are these beads. You're draped in beads. The whole thing, you're covered in percussion, and the look on your face is just it's a tribal look. It's a great album, and there is a great use. I love the interplay, even though I'm not a musician per se. I really enjoyed the interplay between you and Elvin Jones, and I was curious as to if you could comment a little bit about what he meant to your career and what you learned from him and what he learned from you and the kind of times you guys had together.
Well, Elvin was actually, when people when people look at Elvin, they thought, I would like to talk to this guy, but I'm not going to try, because he was big and he was not smiling that much, or he wouldn't come and talk to you. Hello, how are you?
Right.
And so people they were kind of scared of him, but he was a very, very gentle person. He was beautiful, a beautiful guy, and we were friends. We became friends, and like we would talk about different things. He would talk about the jazz and the city of New Orleans and Mississippi and this and that, and I would tell him about Brazil, about all the festivities, and a lot of different things that they had in Brazil that involves music and so on and so on, and or just talk like normally, like about what people talk, in general, and Elvin, it's to me. He was everybody knows that. He was such an incredible player, such a strong player all the time. And, I kept seeing him, in different places. And then I started traveling around the world, and I would meet him in airports or on a jam session of a festival. Him and Art Blakey too. There was the same thing with Art. We used to like each other a lot,
mm-hmm.
and talk a lot, and so on and so on. So I think Elvin had something very, very special as a person. Is like when you finally, as we were talking about fear, right?
Yeah.
When you finally, got enough courage to go and talk to the guy, then you would find out, oh wow, then he used to, smile with that big smile, his teeth they were, very white, like he was like, oh wow,
yeah.
What a guy. And then, talking to him was like, talking to somebody that you knew for a long time.
It was almost like he was just proud that the person finally had enough courage to come talk to him, and then everything was love at that point.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what was happening in the early 70s? To me, it appeared to be a fusing of different types of music where experimentation was viewed as a good thing. I look at the Cannonball Band at that time, George Duke on keys, Mike Deasy on guitar, your old pal Walter Booker on bass. To me, it was the ultimate 70s band. It was fusing electric grooves with Brazilian and African percussion. And I was just hoping you could talk about the freedom and the openness of that band and that time period of music in general.
That was Cannibal's band, right?
Exactly. Buck Clark on percussion with you.
Oh. I didn't understand exactly what you say.
I just wanted you to talk about that band in the early 70s, the idea that the openness of Cannonball to bring in a rock, acid rock guitar player, Brazilian percussion, African percussion, electric keyboard. It's a beautiful band, and the live recording is like at the Troubadour in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
And it was what you...
I remember that.
Yeah, it was what you talked about earlier. It wasn't that... There weren't just jazz fans that came. There were many types of music fans that wanted to come to see this kind of music. It was for younger people.
Well, yeah. Even though, Cannibal had... he would appeal to, different kinds of people and ages, also. And he loved to talk. I remember that. And
he liked to talk about you too.
Well, yeah, but he used to talk about people and relations and this and that. He was really an incredible man. Cannibal in reality was my sponsor in the United States when I was for me and Flora to get our papers, and be legals here in the States.
Yeah.
Cannibal decided that we talked to him and he said, yes, I can sign your papers, that's fine. And I remember that his manager at that time, he didn't like it at all, and also his brother didn't like it at all. And they talked to him and said, don't do that, don't sign it, because what he signed it, for us, was a contract for 4 years. And the contract said that we would make so much money a month, from him, from his band, from him, and for 4 years. And so that helped us a lot in order for us to get our papers here. And if it was not for that, we wouldn't be able to do it, So, but they used to say, his manager and so on and so on, they used to tell him, listen, they told him, you shouldn't do that, don't do it, you're going to be sorry. These people, nobody knows, who they are.
You can't trust them. They are foreigners. You can't trust. They'll take your money.
Yeah, don't because if they decided that they don't want to play anymore or whatever, you're going to have to get your contract and to fulfill your contract.
Right.
And you have to give them all this money for 4 years, and no, you don't do that. But he said, well, I trust them. They're nice people. I trust them. They need it, so I'm going to do it. And that's it. He did it. And I admire him a lot for that, and for his playing too, and for the way that he would, he was like a very, very nice person to everybody. Everybody loved him when he, when they saw him, they talked to him. He would talk to everybody, and he was very, very much into having a good relationship with the people. You know,
Hey,
Cannonball is my hero. You know.
Airto, do you think the way our political structure is today, would Cannonball and the way how our politics is very cynical, do you believe that Cannonball Adderley would be embraced by our society, or would people try to tear him down? Because it seems to me now, anybody that comes along with a good skill set, maybe they communicate, or they want to be close to the people, or they are a great musician, or they reach out and help people that need help, they are deemed a threat to the powers that be. And I wonder, in your mind today, if Cannonball Adderley could survive, or would our society want to tear him apart?
I think he would survive, because he was never a threat to nobody. You know, he was a great person, like Herbie Hancock today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's Herbie is a beautiful guy, and he's a good friend. And if you need help, and you talk to him, you know, you manage to talk to him in a proper way, and this and that, I think he would say, okay, I'm going to help you. And so is Carlos Santana. Those two people, you know, they're very, very special people. Carlos is a friend of mine for many, many years, and I know that he helped a lot of people, and he's still helping a lot of people, you know. And so is Herbie. So, but one thing I agree with you, that would be more difficult these days to not to convince somebody to sponsor you, but to convince, let's say, the immigration department to accept you know, as a worker, as somebody that is working in the United States, and give you a green card or whatever, is much harder now. And because there are, I mean, I think it's because there are too many people here, too many foreigners here, that I'm not even saying that they would they are taking the work from Americans, because the work that they do, most of them, you know, the Americans, they don't want to do it.
Right.
You know, they don't want to be in a field out there for 12 hours, you know, picking, you know, grapes.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's
you know,
right.
And making so little money, you see. So this is a very, very, you know, serious issue that I don't know how they're going to solve this, because this was the land, you know, this was, is the land of the free, right?
It's supposed to be.
That's right. And but now, because of you know, wars and wars and wars, so many wars going on, and so many places that you know, we are involved in it, and we have to give money and money and money to them in some ways, because we have our interests, you know, there on their country. You know, the economy is very hard right now. You know, we got a big hit, and it went down because there was too open, too much. I think too many places that America got involved with, you know, because then you have to accept some of those people when they come here. You have to say, oh, okay, well, yeah, because we went there and we did this and that and that, so you're welcome, you come over here. But it doesn't work like that. And that time, fortunately, was a time where, you know, everybody was busy before that with the Vietnam War. And which, you know, the Vietnam War was really a fiasco.
Yes.
And because they, you know, was so much was done, and was so much money, and so many people died in both sides, and then they didn't even know why. I mean, I don't know why, really. And some people, they didn't know. They still don't know why. And that's, you know, that's politics, and they have their reasons, you know, to do that. But today it would be different. Today is different, and it takes much more time and scrutiny in order for you to, you know, to get a resident card here. You know, so I think when I came here, I came at the right time. Some ways.
I'll tell you, we're talking with Airto Moreira. We've been talking immigration, fear, psychology, percussion, music, so much. Airto, I like to do this with some of my guests sometimes because you probably know this, but you probably may not own a lot. There's a lot of live recordings of you all over the internet, and stuff you didn't necessarily do with Creed Taylor or with Flora on Fantasy or Milestone. So I'd like to play some music for you and come back, see if you can figure out what it is, and then we can talk about it, okay?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Airto.
Yeah,
Yeah. So tell me what it was.
I can't.
I love it. That was Halloween 1983 at Marin County Veterans Auditorium with the Grateful Dead.
Oh my God.
You know, and that is special, Airto. So special for me.
I was thinking about that. I said, well, definitely I'm playing here, but what is it? I used to sit in and sometimes being invited to be part of the percussion jam in the show of their show. So I did many times that I played with them.
How did you first meet the Mickey Hart or Jerry Garcia? How did you meet the Grateful Dead?
Actually, was through Mickey Hart that I met everybody. Mickey, he called me to to record with him some stuff that he was doing, and I think was oh boy.
Well, you did the Apocalypse.
Was Zakir was playing too, and some other people they were playing. Like there was a bass player, and I just he called me and he said they were recording and he wanted me to be part of it and so on and so on, and so we got it together. We played, and it was music for it's something that is music for blah 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 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't recall.
I should know it too, but was it in the early 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like I know exactly what it is. Zakir was on it, and you were on it. It was like a percussion based
percussion ensemble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I don't know. It was interesting because how did it work that year in 1983? Were you in Florida? You were living in the Bay Area or somewhere around there because you guys wound up sitting in with the Grateful Dead on May 15th, 83 at the Greek Theater, and then in Halloween, half a year later, in Marin County. So you guys had moved out to the Bay Area at that point?
No, we were signed to. We had a contract with a record label.
Yeah, Fantasy, maybe.
Fantasy, right?
Concord, yeah.
And then Concord, later on.
Right.
But first was Fantasy, and I was producing for them, and I was recording for them, and Flora also was recording for them, and we used to be there, lots of times, sometimes for a month, working. And then we would go and, check out some live music and, and once we went to see the Grateful Dead, and they, actually, they knew who I was because of Miles Davis.
Right.
And
so you actually were you playing with Miles when he would go and open for the Grateful Dead in the Fillmore?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we played the same bill with the Grateful Dead.
So they knew you already. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so they had seen me, and so we were talking, and they invited me. They said, well, we are playing. We're doing 3 days, at the stadium there, Oakland, in Oakland.
Wow.
So actually, it was produced by Bill Graham that time, and he was a manager, a big, huge manager. He had a big management company.
Oh, I know. Yeah, very well in San Francisco. Yeah.
And he did many things with the Grateful Dead. You know. So there was one of these times, we were there, and they invited me to play, and to play in the middle of the show where there was a jam, a percussion jam that they were calling.
Yeah, and actually, that clip that I played had it was after the drums when they would have this sort of space segment. Jerry, I don't know if you could hear that guitar in the background, but Jerry was playing and you were singing, and
yeah.
To me it was just I was born in 1978, so I was 5 years old during that show.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
well, I was born in 1941.
But I have this other clip that I wanted to play for you. I think it might. I don't know when was the last time you heard it, but it's your band and the guys, and I wanted you to comment on it. So just hang with me 1 second, and we'll do it. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Airto.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to play that through because, I actually wanted to get to there's a beautiful trumpet solo as well, but I don't want to keep you here till 10 o'clock at night. So I wanted to, do you?
Right, yeah, I have,
No, it's fine. I'm
going to a wedding today.
Good. No, we finish soon, so don't worry. But that do you know that band? Do you recognize?
Yeah, that's called, that song is called Nothing Will Be As It Was.
Nada será como antes.
Yeah, and it's by Milton Nascimento. And that's a song that Flora loved it. She loves to sing. And we did an arrangement, our own arrangement, and we were playing live that, for a long time. And it's, I don't know who else is playing, but...
it's Jeff Elliott on trumpet, Khahasiki, Marco Silva on keyboard, and Randy Tico on bass.
Oh, Randy, yeah.
Can you just,
I had doubts about it because I couldn't hear the bass very well on the phone.
Exactly. Airto, I wanted to, before we go, can you talk about your relationship with your wife and what she has meant to you, and how you guys have worked together and stayed together for so long in a very difficult business?
Yeah, well, it didn't, let's say, we had one thing that we still have in common, and is music, of course. And Flora, when she decided to move, over here, she spoke English and French and some. I think she was speaking already 5 languages, different languages.
Holy cow! I'm sorry.
Flora was very well educated. Was from a high middle class in Rio de Janeiro, and then we met and so on and so on, and we got it together, and then we start living together. We got married later on in '72, but we are together now for 47 years.
Bravo, my friend. Bravo. Listen, I know marriage is lifelong work.
Yeah. It's like, sometimes I say music is like a marriage, a serious marriage, which is a life commitment. Music is not just a career or something like that. It's a commitment for life.
And it's like, and sometimes, like love, music is perfect and beautiful and it flows, and then there are times where you can't get off the block,
Yeah. Yeah, we have, of course, nobody is the same or like the same things, exactly the same things, all around. And we have different personalities, we have different tastes, for food, for many different things. But we always, let's say in Brazil before we left, and even over here in the States, I would go with Flora and do what she would like, what she was, what she wanted to do. Let's say she wanted to go to the theater, to Carnegie Hall, to see check some classical music, and I was not prepared for that because I come from a different background that she does. But I would go, and I would end up enjoying it. And the same way, she would come with me to sometimes a park that was we used to take the subway and go to the end of this, of the subway, and then, walk for about half an hour and be in this beautiful park with, waterfalls and so on and so on. And because I always love it, like the nature and the place that I come from, we had the ocean. We didn't have the ocean there. It was not a place that you could go, oh, I'm going to the beach today. It was not like that.
Sure.
And so I learned, how to love nature, as it comes, as it exists. This is, that's God's creation. That's, some people sometimes they, I know especially, these days is kind of weird because there's so many people that they don't believe in God. Because I see that, and I have conversations with people and so on and so on, and they just I don't know what they believe in. They don't have a specific thing that they respect, and they put that on top of everything else in life. And God is our Father, our Creator, and God keeps creating galaxies and stars and this and that. If you how can I see God? They say, well, you can see God. Just open the window and look. If you see a tree, that's God.
Yeah.
If anything that you see actually comes from God, even computers, because computers are made with, the parts of the computer is made from material that God created here on Earth. You see.
I think Airto. I kind of agree with you. Is that there's somewhat of a hopelessness, but one of the problems that I do have is sometimes this idea of having a particular God, that you can't believe, you can't just be a spiritualist. You have to conform to the Judaic God, or the Christian God, or the Muslim God, and oftentimes, because these religions are rigid, it causes a lot of strife. The wars that we have going on right now are holy wars. So there has to be. I agree with you that lack of spirituality is hurting us, but at the same time,
big time.
It's taken the soul. Our soul is hurting very badly, but it doesn't mean that.
What is soul? You see, first of all, what is soul? Do I have a soul? I'm white. Do I have a soul, or can I go to the corner, around the corner, and buy some soul from somebody? No. It's like it's like a lot of people. They say, "Well, man, you got no soul. You don't understand us because this and that and that." But we all the same. We all brothers and sisters here. We are spirits that we were created by God, just like He created the whole universe. And the universe today, we know how big it is, but we didn't know. Not too long ago, we didn't know how big it was. Mm-hmm. And now, because of this satellites that they send out there, to scrutinize, what is around. Science had found out that even the black holes, they have matter, inside of them. That is something that goes through that. It's not. We are. I remember when I was a kid, we used to call. Not that we used to call, but I heard my father. My father was a spiritual healer, by the way, and he, him and his friends, and people, every time they got together, they would be talking about very, very beautiful things, like incredible things that is not from this world. And also, some of the things are from this world, but I was the universal energy, the energia universal. I heard a lot about it when I was a kid. Energia de Deus is God's energy, which is the universal energy that God used to create everything that is around, that we can see, and everything that we cannot see, everything that we can feel, and everything that we cannot even feel. We don't know. But we are surrounded by matter anyways, and we are surrounded by spirits, and spirit is us. We are a spirit, and we have a body, you see. That's what I learned. We have a body right now, so we can use this body to go through this lifetime here on Earth. And we are learning all the time. We come back here to learn more and more and more. And when we learn enough, just a minute. Yeah, this one is going to be with no battery in a minute.
Okay, Airto, let me tell you, I love this conversation, but I want you to go to your wedding, okay? And
yeah.
And I just want to tell you that by having you on the program today, and by being able to spread your word to other people, it will continue to fill the vessel of love and life. And in this materialistic world and war-weary world, we need that.
We do. We do, definitely.
So I will talk to you soon, my friend, and I will send you a copy of this recording, because it was a beautiful interview. I thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, please, yeah. I would like to have it.
Hold on one second, okay? Thank you, Airto. Hold on.
Yeah.